Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Nkositalkshows, where our speakers and our coaches can help you get more from your life and create concrete steps to help you get there. Find your voice and be a great leader in your own life. My name is Nomsa Clara Mnuve. I am the founder of Hope Spring Eternal Introduction Agency and the founder of Ngosi Talk Show. I have my special guest today, Tamia Dow. Good afternoon, Tamia, and good morning.
Good afternoon and good morning to you, Nomsa. Thank you for inviting me to be on. I'm excited to be here.
So how is everything going on your side? Are you guys safe?
Yes, thank the Lord, we are safe. It is cold here, but I understand it's also cold there. So it's very unusual because I'm coming to you from Las Vegas. When I say unusual, yeah, we have winter like everybody else, but we don't like cold. That's why most of us live in Las Vegas. So yeah, it's the time of the year that we're all kind of like hoping to hurry up and get by. We don't like cold weather.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much to be here. So our topic today is share your life. The struggles you've overcome can bring hope to others. So basically today we're just gonna have a little bit of fun. And at the same time, we're going to actually impact people who have gone through challenges in life. So, Tamia, how do you actually decide what you want in life and go after it when you have gone through the struggles in your life and basically impacting others, giving hope, bringing hope to others? How do you have the courage to do that?
Well, first, it starts with you realizing that your life is a gift. Regardless of what you're going through, your life is a gift. And you have to believe that your life is a gift from God. And what you do with your life is your gift back to God. So I look at it like this. We weren't promised a life of perfection. We weren't promised a life of no adversity. We weren't promised the, what is it, storybook life, right now it's the holiday times and everybody's watching Hallmark movies and all these kind of, everything works out perfect movies, which is actually an interesting concept because things tend to work out well for the person who decides that they're going to work out well. When life hands us something, we have, this is the thing, life is 10% what actually happens to you and 90% how you respond to it. So it's about perspective and it's about reframing what is happening in your life. Why do you see people who, let's say they trip and fall and they're done. They're like, they trip and fall. They're like so embarrassed. And they're like, you know what? I'm going home. I'm not even going to go to work. I don't care. I've ripped my pants. I've done this. I'm not even going to go to work. I'm just going to go in the house and hide myself. And then you have another person who does the exact same thing, right? And they get up, they dust themselves off. They look down and go, oh, well, there's a hole, but I got stuff to do. So they keep going, right? Well, this is a perspective thing. This is how you look at your life. And I always talk about how important it is that we make a point of starting our day out right. When we start our day out right, then we are able to have a good attitude because I truly believe life is a lot about your attitude, right? We've all seen the bitter, angry person, right? It doesn't matter what happens. They kind of complain about it. They're going to, it could be a little bit of sun out. And then they're like, well, I don't want a sunburn, or it could be cloudy. And they go, yeah, see, just another cloudy day. Or instead they could be like, oh, it's a little crisp out, but it's nice for a walk. It's all about perspective. How do you see things? Do you choose to see things negatively or do you choose to see things positively? And the important word in those sentences that I just said is that it is a choice. How you react, how you respond, what you say, what you do. choose kindness and choose to look at how can I make the most of this. And the other thing I say is always ask, what is my lesson? Because if you don't ask, what is my lesson? I look at this as, we call them their little tests in life, right? Little things that happen to you, little tests. And we all want to pass the test, right? When we were school children, we'd go to school and we wanted to be studied for the test and we wanted to be ready for the test. And then we wanted to pass the test, right? We didn't want to go and get the big, I don't know what grade they give you guys if you didn't do well, but they give you an F here and it stands for you failed. You didn't successfully complete the task. So therefore, guess what? You have to retake the test. Well, when it comes to life's adversities, I don't want to have to retake the test. So I have to ask myself, what's the lesson I'm supposed to learn in this, and how can I make the most of this or make it the best?
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Tamia. I like it. You see this dress that I'm wearing, and it's a very, very long dress. So I think it was last year actually, I went to a business event. Then my dress, because it's so long, it got caught on the escalators. I could see everyone, like thank God, it kept rolling and kept rolling and kept rolling, and the
Oh my goodness.
escalators stops everything, and the alarms were going everywhere. The whole station was shut down. So after they took me to the office and they wrote all the incident report and everything. And then after that, I was going to a business event. And then after that, the guy says to me, I think the only thing that we can help you to get out of this stress and anxiety and whatever has been going on, do you mind to go to and spend your own money, go to town and just pick up the dress that you want? And then when you picked up that dress, you can write, and he gave me the phone number, the email address. You can write to the train company, they'll refund your money. So I looked at him, I said, listen, I'm going to a business event, and right now I need to get to where I need to go. I can tell you, Tamia, I knew the event, what happened to my dress. But when I went to the event, no one noticed because the dress was so long. No one noticed. And until everyone kept saying, oh, your dress is beautiful. And I was like, can you see anything different with my dress at the bottom? And they were like, no. And I was like, okay, thank you. And then after, I went back to the same people that I was talking to, and I was like, guess what? Look at the bottom of the dress. Because after the event, and the guy went, okay, for you to walk out and look presentable, I'm going to just cut it nicely. And he do the chopping, and after I was like, after this, I'm going to the business event. I have to go. I'm not going shopping. And I was like, shopping is not in my priority right now. So I said, thank you very much. And I went to my business event. I've learned so much that day. I took notes. I took everything. I didn't forget about what happened, but I thanked God that I was still alive, because I know that there's so many people who die. So many people every year, they die on the trains because of those escalators. And the trains were shut down. I think the guy said they'll be shut down for a few hours, basically until the incident is complete. And I was like, can you let me go? Then it was like, if you want to go, you can go, it's fine. And just what you just said, that how you respond to the situation is how basically it is a choice. And I got home I look at the numbers, the guy and the email, what he had gave me, because he asked me, he said, when you get home, you can email them as well. They will give you the money and put the dressing, how much it cost you. But when I was on that email and writing the email, I just went, this does not feel right. I'm alive. Who am I? I'm saying I'm a Christian, but I'm asking somebody to actually pay for something. I didn't lose anything. This dress, I looked at my dress and I was like, I can still alter my dress. So I don't
Right.
think this is right. So I just went to no, I'm not gonna write an email. And I was like, I'm gonna respond like a normal person. I know I can just claim it, they will give me the money, but it doesn't feel right. So I refused. I said no. So, coming to you when you say how you respond to the situation, sometimes we feel that when we are going through something, we have to blame somebody else. But sometimes there are situations where we don't have to blame anyone. Like you are a Christian as well, and like myself, and you are a pastor. You can explain this better how God tests our lives.
All right, that's the question you're asking, is how God tests our life?
Yes, because our lives, our honesty, because God can test us. He can bring an event to see how your faith, basically to test your faith, to test everything that you say you represent. So you can explain it better. I'm no pastor, so you can explain it better.
Well, I love that story because it's a perfect example. As you say, it's a couple of examples of a few different things. The
Yes.
fact that you were very concerned about how your dress appeared, and you thought that everyone else knew.
Yeah.
And we have to realize in life, I mean, you're an event planner, I'm an event planner. People who are watching are probably event planners. Even if it's just an event you plan as a party at your house and you have somebody over for dinner and that kind of thing. And life itself is not perfect, as I mentioned at the beginning. It's not perfect. But most people don't see the imperfections in you that you pay attention to. So, with that dress, for example, your dress after he cut it, and in fact, when you were telling the story, that is exactly what I was thinking. Cut the dress, because you said it was long, right? So the security officer cut it. And that's the thing, is there's some really simple things that we can do to alter our lives and the things that we do, that we don't need to announce. Because I think a lot of times we, especially women, men are like, whatever, next step. I mean, like he cut the dress, he's like, okay, now move on. I mean, he did offer the payment and that kind of thing. But for you to get done for that day, it was like, what can we do right now to make it so you can continue to do what you need to do, right?
Yes.
And for us as event planners, we see that all the time. What happened? Oh, this didn't arrive, or that didn't arrive, or we're supposed to do this and the person didn't come, and this kind of thing. And what we do is, I have to use my military hat. We adapt and we overcome it, right?
Of
It's like,
course.
okay, I can't spend a lot of time on this dress, right? I'm going to still go to this meeting because I know there's something that I have there. And life is full of distractions. Life is full of things that are designed to take us off track. And the weaker of us can get distracted and be taken off track. And I'll tell you why. What happens? I know I've shared with you guys before, Jeremiah 29:11, where it says, I know the plans I have for your life, plans to prosper you, give you hope. And God has these plans for us, and the enemy doesn't want us to accomplish it. Now, whatever your belief system is, we all know that there's good and there's evil in this world. There is, right? And the thing is, for the most part, evil is always highlighted. People pay attention to evil, and people turn towards evil more so than they turn towards good. So we are a light. And as you mentioned, as Christians, or even as just people like to say kind people, I'm a good person, I'm a kind person. Well, if you're a good and kind person, always remember people are watching you. But even more so for our Christians, people are watching you, and they've never, ever read a Bible. They've never picked up a Bible, gone to a church, listened to a church sermon on the radio or TV. They just know that you're their Christian, your workmate, and they watch how you behave. Do you come in cussing and fussing and acting a fool? Then they look at you and they go, well, why would I want to be a Christian? I'm looking at this Christian and they're, cussing at the boss and, being mean and, all this kind of stuff. So why would I want to be a Christian if that's the way Christians act? Because I can act just like that and I don't have to be a Christian, right? So we have to remember that people are watching us, whether we like it or not, even if it's just our neighbor. For a lot of people, they're still staying in quarantine right now. So you're quarantined and your neighbors don't see you, but you know what? You come out your house every once in a while, right? You know? So when you come out your house, are you kind? Do you speak to your neighbor? Are you, are you friendly? Or do you come out and grumble? Or the first thing you want to say when you see someone is something negative instead of positive, like this weather is horrible. I can't believe we're still in lockdown. And like you said, the thing about blaming other people, if the, I don't know you guys particular, people who do your government, but like, for example, we would say, the council person, why don't they do this? Or the governor, why don't they do this? Or the mayor, why don't they do this? And like you said, you go to blame, right?
Yeah.
Let's not worry about what we believe other people should do, because the only person whose life we control is our own. We only control our own life. We may be able to influence, like, for example, if you look at the children that the Lord has blessed you with, you have an ability to influence them. When they're little, you have an ability to kind of control their comings and goings and things like that. But what you're really tasked with those young people is to be a power and an influence in their life that helps them be a better adult when they leave your home and they go. Think about this. When somebody says to you about your children, oh, they're so well behaved. Your son or your daughter is so kind. What a sweet child. Okay, what does that have to do with? That has to do with what they see at home, right? Because children model what they see at home. So if you see a child that's bitter and whiny and complaining and things like that, you have to think, what is their home environment like? Because that's the way they're behaving and they're reacting to it. So think about this. We are all little children. So we, as adults, can control our own environment. So what I'm saying by saying that is that stop the negativity and choose the good. Okay, stop the negativity and do things that are going to make you have a better outlook on life. And if that entails turning on a comedy at night, finding something where you can laugh, because they talk about laughter being the best medicine. And I tell you what, with what we're going through in this society, a lot of negatives coming in. So put some laughter in, right? Look for some good, wholesome, comedy. What makes me, I think, if we say wholesome comedy, I don't know if you remember, Nomsa, because you're kind of young, but there was a British actor, comedian named Benny Hill. Do you know Benny Hill?
Yes. I like comedy.
Yes. So, Benny Hill, Mr. Bean. Have you heard of Mr. Bean?
I love Mr. Bean. He's awesome.
So there's so much comedy relief. And the reason I mention that is when you get yourself laughing and even thinking in the positive when it comes to reaction to things, like, let's say, for example, you tripped and that horrible thing happened to your dress, right? But when you look back on it and you said, thank God I could have died, this could have happened, blah, 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 you may have a little chuckle, to think, wow, how good is God? Because he literally caught you, or he literally stopped you. Because think about that. Some people say, or as you even mentioned, that the test was brought from God. Yeah. I don't necessarily think the test is brought from God, right? The test is brought from life, right? And life circumstances, because we are living a life every day that introduces so many elements into our life, going from the house to the store, to the train, to the, to work, now that we're all out, doing this. These things happen every day, and every step of the way, there's little mini tests that come along. Do you greet someone when you get on the tube? Do you, are you kind to just the person walking down the street? I tell you what, I love London. I visit there quite often. I consider it my second home, but I know people think I'm crazy because I'm that American that greets you. I'm saying good morning. I'm talking to you about something. It's like it's taboo to talk to somebody on when you're commuting in the morning. And I love it because in the US, we commute in cars quite often. Not a lot of us ride buses and public transportation, but in London, it's very natural to do so, to walk the streets, to get on the bus, to get on the tube. All of this is very natural, to get on a train and go from place to place. So there's so many times for you to interact with people and be a blessing to people. And we miss it because our society doesn't necessarily encourage us to interact with each other. So we have to make, right, we have to make that choice. As I mentioned before, you guys write this down. How you live your life is a choice. It is your choice. Do you live your life with joy and excitement for the day and for what can be, even the littlest things? Think about this. If you change your perspective right now, if you reframe your daily outing, you guys have been opened up for a few days now, and you're out and about, reframe it. Say, who can I be a blessing to today? Who can I be kind to? You guys don't, think about it. If you just smile to someone and greet them, smile at them and greet them, I'm telling you what, it will change their day, especially if you stay committed with your smile, which is what I always did. That's why I know they figured I was a crazy American. Because I would smile at them and then I greet them. I'd be like, how are you? Or how's your day? Or something like that. And they would just look at me, and then most of them responded. Some might give a little smile back, or kind of, scrunch their shoulder. But
like
I was talking to everybody.
Or something.
Right? There's a thing about, not just being a Christian, but just being a light. Okay. But as Christians, we're told to be a light. So my pastor always talks about, because pastors have pastors, my pastor always talks about being a light everywhere you go, and to change the atmosphere when you enter a room. And to me, entering a room is getting on a train or getting on the bus or getting on the tube. You can greet those people that are around you. I thought it's so funny. I'm talking about commuting today, but this is something that everybody does. So yeah. I want to touch on this because all of us, especially, in the UK there, especially in London Central, you guys are moving every day amongst people. You probably see, 30 to 40 people that you could influence. Now, I know we're all wearing a mask. I know we are. Okay. But you know what? I wear a mask every single day, and people can tell if I'm smiling or if I'm not. Right. Yep. So it shows. It shows. You have the mask on, and then you smile, and they see this turn up. They see the cheek go up. They know that you're smiling at them. You know what I mean? So just choose. I say live your life with a smile, and live your life as a smile. And I don't care if your teeth are perfect or not, because I know some people who will say, well, I don't really smile because I don't want people to see my teeth. So I just kind of, do like that. Right. Back to what I said at the beginning, we are all perfectly perfect in who we are. We don't need to be plastically altered to be what we think people should see. God made us perfect just how we are, and that is something that we really must embrace. And when you don't treat yourself well or talk to yourself badly, like tell yourself, oh, I look horrible today, no, I can't smile because my teeth are crooked, no, I can't go out and speak and be proud because I'm a heavy person, I need to lose weight, I need to this. Who's telling you this? This is the enemy. Remember I told you about evil and good, right? So the enemy's goal is to keep you quiet, to keep you silent, to keep you away from your destiny. And God has a plan, right? He has a plan.
That's his job.
Destiny for you.
That's his job, to keep you stuck.
His only job is to keep you stuck, to keep you frustrated, to hopefully influence you to be negative and angry, because that's him that gets the glory. When somebody says that bitter guy that lives down the street, or this, oh, my neighbor is so mean, and, this kind of thing. No. Let it be that you are the light, because more blessings come to the light. then they come to the darkness. The darkness just is, it's not a place that we want to be in. What's the first thing we do when it gets dark? What do, Numsa? What do we do?
Put the
We
light.
turn the light on, right?
Turn the light on, yes. That's a good thing to explain, actually. We turn the light on. That's amazing. That's amazing. Because if you don't turn the light on, that means you'll be stuck where you are. So you need to turn the light on so you can see where you're going and you can see who is around you. But the devil will want you to get stuck and keep whining and keep blaming.
Right, right. Yeah, when you're bitter, we look at it like this. You become, people don't want you around them. You're bitter. You're like vinegar added to, added to salt. I mean, I'm sorry, vinegar added to sugar, actually. Because people are going along having a great day, and then here comes vinegar. Vinegar walks in and they're bitter, and they're like, and we call them Debbie Downers here in the US. They come in and everybody's having a great time, and it's, we're back to work. The office is decorated for the holidays. We're getting ready to celebrate because there's so many holidays, coming up during this month, and they're all excited. Everybody puts on their festive clothing, like I have my little wreath on and all this kind of stuff. And then Debbie Downer walks in, and Debbie Downer says, well, what if you're this religion, or what if you're that religion, or why are we this, and da 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 da. So instead of celebrating, and I remember I was in London, I think it was 2 or 3 Christmases ago, and there was a big debate about putting up holiday lights.
Yeah.
Because there were people that don't call it Christmas lights, don't call it this, don't da da da. And I know that what the city had done was gone to just white lights, like white or yellow lights, because they didn't want to offend anybody if the lights were blue for Hanukkah, or if the lights were red and green for Christmas, and da 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 da. And it just broke my heart to hear that dialogue, because I love Christmas. I mean, yes, for the most part of my life, I've come up some form of Christian because I was Catholic as a child and then became a Christian as an adult. But I love lights. Lights are beautiful, whatever color they are. I love the tree. I love the Christmas tree. I love the symbolism. I love Jesus, as you know, and we call this Christmas is Jesus's birthday.
Yeah.
But I also understand Hanukkah, the 8 days of light. I understand these things, so for me, when I saw that, I was really sad that London had done that. It was, I don't know if they've now embraced it again. I had to drive all the way around. I had because you guys don't really drive, but some people do, though. God bless you, those do. But I had to catch public transport to try to find a place where I could find a tree, because I wanted to take a Christmas picture with my friend who I was visiting. We had to go all the way to Covent Gardens to find it. Yeah, we had to go. I mean, and that was a good trip from where we were, but that was the only place where they said that they had lights and a display at that time on that, during that year. So I just thought, wow, look how hard we had to look for the light, to look for the light in the celebration of the holiday. It just, like I said, it broke my heart, because I felt like that was a little bit of a dampening. I felt like the Debbie Downers had won, And I don't think the Debbie Downers should win. I think that the light is so important. Now let me just kind of go with that light theme, okay? Because we're talking about how adversities in our life can be a hope and a help for others. So let's look at some of the adversities that may happen in your life. Now, I will go to the area that I've been working with for years, because my background is I'm a retired detective, police detective, and I work with the character or the type of specialized clients that I worked with prior to retirement, and even now still are victims of violence, domestic violence, and sexual assault and sex trafficking. And all of these victims, what is they have in common is the fact that their lights were attempted to be diminished or put out by an abuser, right? Whether it was a trafficker or a pimp or a boyfriend or girlfriend, someone who was attempting to control their life And part of their control over that person was that they were controlling them through telling them they're horrible people, physically abusing them, isolating them from their friends. You know, if any of this sounds familiar, and I know it does to people, you guys know what I mean when I'm talking about abuse in a relationship, especially for those of you who now have been and may have been locked down with your abuser, literally forced to be in the same household with someone who never has a kind word to say for you, tells you that you're worthless, tells you that no one else will ever have you except for them. You know, they just really just do their best to put your light out because
pin
they
you
want
down, pin your head
yes,
down.
yes. Yeah, and it's their goal. They are your real life oppressor. You know, your real life enemy, right? And when I say enemy, they are influenced. You know, they are influenced by the enemy. Trust me, even Christians can be influenced by the enemy. And this is why you've heard me say that word, influence. We are a powerful influence over the people who are in our lives. You know, our first circle of people in our lives are our family, our friends, and our partners, right? Our life partners. So if you are a negative person and you do your best to bring everybody, think about this. It's like when you go to a show, a performance, there's plenty of lights in the room, meaning people, there's plenty of lights in the room, right? But when the performer goes to perform, what's the thing that they do in the house? They turn down the lights,
Yes.
right? Because we're not focused on the audience. We don't want to focus on the audience. We want to focus on the performer, the person that's on the stage, right? And the lights even are put on the performer, right? When we go to the theater, they put the lights on the performers, right? So when you are in a violent relationship, this is what is happening. The light that should rightfully be yours and you should equally be able to shine with your partner says, no, it's me. It's me. And a lot of times this is called narcissism. You guys can look it up, because when you look at violent situations, there's generally always some form of narcissism in it and a little bit of sociopathic behavior. Write these words down, look them up, okay? In domestic relationships, domestic violence relationships, and abusive relationships. What happens when they get your light so small is that your will is diminished. Your will is diminished. So here's what I want to share with you guys. We who have survived, come out of those abusive relationships and are now living a vital life, choosing to live a vital life, making the choice to get away from abuse and move towards the life that the Lord has for us, because abuse is not his choice. Okay. You could have stayed on the floor with that torn dress and laid there and cried and wept and not moved forward and did anything and just waited for people to come help you and then went and bought your other dress, and you would have missed how much of your life? So much that you learned, right? This is the goal of the enemy to our soul, the abuser, right? Let me get you so small, so self-confident or conscious, so just against yourself, literally against yourself, right? Because our mind can be our worst enemy. I'm not going to get up and go to that party, even though I was invited to this party. Here's my next excuse. You know what? This COVID thing. But you know what? There's also videos. Okay. People are doing videos now. You're watching this video right now, but we could also be Zooming. You know, we could do a Zoom platform and people could come. You know, we might even look at that, Numsa, as doing an actual private Zoom where we invite some victims of abuse to come on and we just have some conversations, some real life conversations of empowerment. Because let me explain to you the importance of you making the decision not to be continued to be, I wish I had something that symbolically, but you know what I mean, to have your light put out. Because the sad thing is, press down and put down. And, you know, because the sad thing about that is, you know, I mentioned that I was a detective, that I have had the conversations with people when they were alive and said, this is not a good relationship for you. You need to get out of it. You know, and I'm talking male and females, you know what I'm saying? So you can share this video with your male friends and your female friends that you know are victims of abuse, that are living in abusive relationships and households. And a lot of times you do because of this, you're at this size, you're at this size. So the person says to you, no one else will have you. You're not worth anything. You're just a speck. No one will this, no one will. It's always negative, 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 right? They're not saying to you with what a healthy relationship says is, you know, I love you and I appreciate you. And there's a lot out there for you. And I want to stand by your side and I want to lift you up and I want to walk alongside you and I want to celebrate life with you, right? If someone's not living their life with you like that, if you're not partnering with your husband or wife to make life better for yourselves together and your children and the people around you, I want you to re-examine the relationship you're in. Because back to that word, I would say the theme word for today is choice, right?
Yes.
Choice, okay? So you are making a choice to stay in that situation, right? And let me say another thing, because I've heard all of the excuses, all of the reasons why people stay, right? But like I said, I've also come and collected dead bodies from relationships like that. And that's very real. This is something you learned from me, Noom. So you've known me for a while now. You know, I don't pull punches. I tell you, you know what? You could die in a relationship when you stay inside that, because the control, the power and control can get so obsessive for the abuser that the ultimate control for them is to take your life.
And also the abuser is very, very clever because everything is in the head, and the head is the symbol of your destiny, basically. So once the head is messed up, everything is messed up. So once they mess with your head, that means that is the end, until you actually decide to actually do what you want in life. Say, I don't want this. This is not what I assigned for.
Correct. And it is a decision. It is a decision, which is another form of that word choice, right?
Yes, life
But
it
yeah,
is a choice.
it is a decision that you make to, and that's when I was starting to share about the excuses that we present as to why we stay in the violent relationships. And sometimes we take on the words of the abuser. Well, no one else will have me. You know, I'm several kilos over what I should be. No one will have me look like this, you know. I'm just not, you know, attractive, or I'm just not, you know what I'm saying? You just, all of this stuff that you've been told by the abuser, you internalize. So this is why I wonder why we so quickly will listen to negatives and take it on, you know, as opposed to looking at the positive. So let's go back to the example we said of us making, putting together a event, right?
Yes.
So we put together this event. Everybody's telling us how amazing it was. They had so much fun. Of course, in our head, we're going, well, you know, the cake wasn't right and this wasn't right and blah, blah, blah. We're telling ourselves this, but everybody's telling us, you know, oh, beautiful. It was lovely. It was lovely. And then one person co-signs with us and says, well, that with cake was really dry and nasty. And I thought it was too hot in here the whole time. And right. So now we missed all of the amazing compliments we got from people who said, thank you so much for throwing a party. We really needed to get out. We really enjoyed it. We had a great time, to focus on the person that said the cake was nasty, right? Why do we do that? Why do we focus on the one negative comment, even though there's like 100 positive comments? You know, the speaker was too loud, or I didn't like the speaker's accent, or I didn't, you know, we'll look at those critiques and we'll be like, you know, I don't give them any credence. In fact, almost sometimes I don't. I usually have my assistant look at the critiques, because I so don't like that word. Because when you talk about critiques, a lot of times it's someone who doesn't do your job,
Yes.
or can't do your job. You know what I mean? So for me, like, let's say, for example, you know, you and I have spoke on the same stages together, you know, and so if I were to hear something from you, you know, knowing that you are a speaker also, and that you know what goes into putting together a speech and this kind of thing, and you make a suggestion, you know, or something like that, I'm going to listen to that more than I'm going to listen to someone who's sitting in the office and, or the audience, and they make a negative comment. Because Debbie Downer has come to the meeting, you know. It's like,
I actually I used to have obligations when I actually go to church, and I'll be like looking at things. I'll be like, things should be done this way, things should be done this way. So I listened to one of the preachers, and he was saying, you know, people like to complain a lot. So if you are listening to this, and what are you doing to your local church, for your local church? Are you contributing? Because if the churches, they say, okay, can you help us with this? People wants to know how much are they gonna get paid. And since that day, I said, I am not gonna complain. I'm just gonna ask my pastor if there's anything I can do to help, to contribute. So every time when he asks me, is there anything we can improve? So I write down the things that I feel that they can be improved, and I put my name down that I'm happy to volunteer to do this if you agree with it. I don't complain. I just say we could change these things around, but I'm happy to actually come and contribute. I write down the things that I look at it that I'm talented with, and I see that I could actually help them with that instead of them bringing someone and paying somebody. So I gave him my pastor a list yesterday, the things that needs to be done on social media. And I also said, I put my name down as well. And I was like, if you need any help, I'm happy to come and help, but I'll be chasing you in 2 weeks to see where you are with this. And he was like, no, so I need a month. I was like, 2 weeks, I'll be chasing you to find out where you are, but some of the job is mine anyway, so you know I'm there if you need me. So that this is what needs changing, because he was going around and asking people what they think. So I said to myself, I need to stop whining and complaining. I need to look at the things where I see that I can contribute, I can help with something, because it's easy for somebody to actually complain. It's easy for me to look at you, Tamia, and start complaining about you, but I don't know your story. And
right.
and if I don't know your story, I don't have a voice to actually judge you. And that's how I look at life. I always try to say, okay, I'm not perfect, but I'm going to find out what's behind this person, what's behind all this that is in front of me. Just find out your story. Once you tell me your story, then I'm learning out of that, from that story. And people call me Nosy Parker. Everyone in the house calls me nosy. I like to know what's going on. Honestly, I like to know what's going on. I went home once, and one of my uncles, he was working home late, till late, and everyone is busy. I'm busy listening to them. My family are busy accusing him of having an affair. My mommy keeps going, shh, shh, she's here, Nomsa. She's going to ask him, don't say anything. So I was like, I've had you. So then when he walked in, I was like, Uncle, everyone is here is wondering, why are you working late? Could you please explain to them? They seem to want to know, but they're not asking you. They're making up stories. So it was like, the reason why I'm waking up late is because we are short of staff and I need the money. So for me to bring my wife back, I need the money. She had gone to a different city. So she was like, I need to work hard. And save the money basically this month. That's why I'm working late, and we are basically been told that we're not gonna work till late. So and then I was like, do you guys have your explanation? And my mom goes to everyone, don't say anything when she's around. This one, she will just ask if you all wondering.
But you know
Because
what?
some,
It's really, it's very good to be honest like that and to be open like that, because it's interesting even what you said, and I think it's a lesson for people who are listening, because so often we're so quick to jump to why we think somebody or what we think somebody is doing, right? When it turned out he was working late. he was not having another woman. He was working a shift to make more money, So it's important that we not, because whole relationships could be broken up over that. You know what I mean?
Know.
Because there was no clarity of communication. They even say the number one thing, or part of the number one, because money and sex is the other two things that breaks up relationships, is a lack of communication, miscommunication. So it could have been so easy that someone that one of the people in the family, oh no, he's cheating, you need to throw him out, and this and this and this, and here he is doing it for the person he loves, and being accused, even though he says, I'm working late. Now trust me, we all know, especially we're talking about abusers and things such as that, yeah, there are some people who are stepping out. You know what I mean? They have somebody else. But this about truth and open communication is important too. Before you turn around and say, I know he's stepping out, this and this and this, or I know she's got another person, and da-da-da-da-da, you ask them. Just point blank ask them. Let's don't play games. We're both adults. Are you seeing someone else? Are you engaged in a relationship with someone else? Which now in the time of COVID, but even before COVID, is very important to know, because that means that your intimate partner is being exposed to someone else intimately, and that can cost you your life because of their interaction with somebody. So you just have to be open and say, please tell me. And if the reaction is violent, if it's none of your business, or, why are you, or maybe even they, strike you and say, how dare you accuse me, that kind of thing. That's another red flag, you guys. Life gives us red flags. Hello, pay attention. This is not a good thing going on in your life. And when we're like this, when we're in this state of our life, when we're, we've been beaten down, and we feel the world is beating us down, and our partners are beating us down, and we're right here, we just go, okay, I deserve that. I deserve to get hit. I deserve to be cheated on. And no, you don't. None of us
do not deserve to be treated bad way, any other way. No one can give you an excuse or anything to actually treat you bad. And when you know that you've done someone wrong, you have to apologize. Yes. I always say, even when I tell my children off, if I realize that actually I was in the wrong, I apologize to them, because I know that it is, for me, I'm teaching them to be normal. If I know that I've misunderstood them, or they've done something and that I thought they've done it, and I tell them off, and they're like, Mommy, I didn't do that. I'm like, I'm sorry, I apologize. So it is good to actually, I always encourage my family to say, if there is something that you want to know, ask questions. Don't make up stories. Because what happens when you make up stories, relationships are destroyed. Business relationships are destroyed. Everything is destroyed. I have my business coaches. If I want something, I ask questions. If I don't understand something, he knows basically when I text, that means I'm actually panicking with something. So he knows it's gonna be like, calm down. If I send an email, that means I'm good. If I'm texting him, I want him to see the message straight away. That means I'm panicking, and he'll be like, calm down now. So everything is fine. Or if he doesn't text me, I know he's busy, but he'll get back to me. There's no need for me to make up stories and say he doesn't care, he doesn't do that. It happens with relationship as well. People make up stories.
Yes, make up stories in their head. Yeah, and it also has to do a lot with your level of self-esteem. If you have a level of self-esteem, like for years, I actually was in a relationship, a long distance relationship. I won't say years, it was like a year, but I was in a long distance relationship. My partner lived in London and I lived in Vegas, and if I didn't trust him, could you imagine, if I didn't trust him, I'd be like, oh, he hasn't answered my text. He hasn't answered my WhatsApp. He hasn't, so what is he doing? I could be like going in circles, but because of my personal self-esteem, I knew that he cared for me. I felt that I could trust him, and I believe that our relationship was, the time that we were together, that he was faithful,
Yeah.
during that time. But of course I could have been spinning in circles. He's not with me, I can't reach him, and he said he was going here, and is he really going here, and that, and you look at their Facebook, and there's all these kind of things that like take over our mind, and you're like, who is that woman? I don't think that's his cousin, this kind of thing, right?
And you find that the person that you're busy worrying and making up stories, they're busy loving you in their heart. They can't wait to talk to you.
Exactly. So yes, it's about, you guys, there's so much we talked about today. It's about self-esteem. It's about loving yourself. It's about choosing daily to be positive and loving, and actually to be a light. So I want to go back to the light analogy that I was talking about, and imagine yourself even as a light. We were talking about the darkness and how people turn on the light because they don't want to be in the darkness. Well, sometimes when people are in the midst of the darkness, they need to see our torch. They need to see our torch, right? The light of our life to help guide them. You know why? Because we've been through it. So we've been through it. It's like the scripture says, yea, though I walk through the shadow of the valley of death, right? So if you're in the shadow, it's dark, right? You walk through it, you continue to walk. You will fear no evil because the Lord our God is by your side. So we have to picture that. We've gone through something. We have a light within us. When we share our stories, when we tell people of how we've overcome situations, how we made the choice to get out of that violent situation, how we made the choice to leave a bad job that was putting us down and was really not helping us, how we made choices that many people are afraid to do. Because why do people stay stuck? Fear. It could be fear of success. It could be fear of failure. It could be fear of man. There's so many levels of fear that people have that cause them to stay in relationships. As I was telling you about the excuses in the abusive relationships. I don't have enough money. I can't make it on my own. I can't this, I can't that. And instead focusing on the can't instead of what I can, how I can find social services that can help me get out of the situation, how I can learn a new job that will enable me to be able to take care of my children and my family, how I can make a decision for myself so that my children are not being exposed to the negativity of abuse and dealing with violence. Because you guys, it's a circle. It becomes a generational curse that your children watch you be abused and they say in their mind, I'm never going to be an abuser. I would never abuse anybody that I love. And then they turn around and they do what they see and not what they were told or what they even told themselves, because children are mimics. They mimic what their parents do. They don't mimic what their parents say. They might remember it in their head, but hey, when daddy was frustrated, he lashed out and punched mommy. When mommy was frustrated, she picked something up and threw it at daddy. So they in their mind, it's like that's the way a loving relationship is supposed to look. One person powering over the other person instead of seeing the side-by-side relationship, the way God has put a relationship. Now, God does ask that the husband be the spiritual head of the family, which I totally agree with, the spiritual head of the family. But I believe that it's an earned position. If you're not walking right with God, how can you be the spiritual head of the family? If you're not seeking God's direction daily to guide your family, to guide your wife and your children, how are you going to properly direct them? It becomes you as their God, as opposed to God as your God, the God over you, and then you, the God and protector of your family. Because the prayers and the love and all that you are directed to do and have for your family, it's all biblical and it all makes sense. Because in our society, whether you're Christian or whatever your belief system is, there is a set up of how the family goes. The male is usually the one who protects the family. That means protects them physically, protects them emotionally, and protects them spiritually. So when the man is out of alignment, this is when I say the abuse starts to begin, and then it gets out of hand because the man or the woman, whoever is ruling the house, because maybe there's not a man in there and now it's an abusive mother, or a female partner, that's abusive. Abuse and power doesn't see gender. People will grab that power. And unfortunately, if they're not aligned with kindness, if they're not aligned with God, if they're not aligned with love, because God says the greatest of these is love. If people are not in alignment to those things, they are going to be cruel, because they're allowing the world to come in, and our world in general is not kind. We have to bring the light. We have to bring the kindness. Now, I want to share something with the audience here. So you hear me talking, I'm a detective, I'm a coach, I'm a speaker, and I speak a lot about you, the importance of you, your choices that you make, and that you realize that you are super awesome. You just are. Just take a minute and say that right now. I am super awesome.
I am super awesome.
And God has a great plan for my life. Say, God has a great plan for my life.
If God has a great, I am super awesome. God has a great plan in my life.
Yes, he does. He has a great plan in your life, and it's not about abuse. It's about a love. It's about shining your light, and it's about remembering who you are. So I created this book, and it's called In Celebration of You, and it's a fun activities guide to help you rediscover you. So what I was finding with my victims of abuse, male or female, was that they lost their identity. Remember what I was sharing about how the abuser will continue to tell you how, this is how you are, and this is how you are, and this is how you are. This workbook takes you through. It's an empowerment tool. It takes you through rebuilding who you are, rediscovering, rebuilding. I would encourage you, I don't want to sit here and tout, stuff, but this is a workbook that I designed to help my victims of abuse, to help my victims of just the world, the negativity in the world, to remind you that you are super awesome. You are amazing. You have done and accomplished things in your life that you need to celebrate, in celebration of you. When you remember, this is so important. When you remember who you are, you change the world. When you remember how you reached out and helped a neighbor, when you remember how you did some amazing things at your job and got recognition, or maybe not even got recognition, when you remember how you did things in your church or your synagogue or your community to change people's lives and to save people's lives and to help people, this is when you are empowered. This is when your light is strong. And we've been talking about the light. We've been talking about the light within you that abusers in the world try to diminish. I want to make that light, to build that light, to toss, what do they call it? Toss, what do you call it? Wood on the flame. This is it. This is wood on the flame, right? This is this is paper. So it's wood. The reason it's wood on the flame is because you go through this workbook and it helps you remember. I have a whole series of words that you can circle to remind you of who you are. I have a whole series of I am statements in there that you write your own I am statements. A whole series of just reflections about you. This book is about you. This time together today is about you. We're speaking to you. We're praying that you will hear us and you will be blessed, and that you will make a decision to use your life, to share your story, to be that light in the darkness for people who are needing to hear your story. Numsa may tell a story. She told it about a dress. I may tell a story, and whatever the story is, my story may resonate with you. Numsa's story may resonate with you. Your story will resonate with people who need to hear it. And with her and I as coaches, our goal is to help you live your best life. Your best life. I can't tell you what your best life is. Only you know that. Only you know what success is to you. Only you know what love is to you. Like they talk about the different love languages. Some people need to be acknowledged and appreciated. Some people just like acts of service. Some people want gifts. I mean, there's different love languages. Google it. There's 5 love languages. When you find out someone's love language, pour it on them. Whatever the love language is, pour it on them, because this will really help your relationship. Yet also learn your own, so you can communicate that to people who love you. Because maybe if you get a certificate, it means the world to you because it shows people appreciate you. But maybe if you get a certificate and that's not your love language, you're like, why did you waste this piece of paper? I would have rather you have given me a gift card to, to Cosa, or, something like that, to Asda, so I could go buy something, So you need to find out the people that you are in relationship with, what their needs are. And knowing their love language is so important. Knowing their needs and loving them is so important. And this, again, is a choice. You choose to be the light. You choose to make a difference. You choose to get to know the people around you, to include your neighbors. You guys, were coming out. So my challenge to you as we start to wrap up and get to the end is that today, when you go out, I know it's already the afternoon and you may be listening to this evening. So tomorrow morning, when you go out, choose to be the light, choose to be kind. Remember, you have a smile. It's our biggest tool, right? You guys, it's the biggest tool. I don't care if you don't speak another person's language. When they see a smile on your face, that's a friendly person. I've been part of international associations. I don't know people's languages, everybody's language, but I put my smile on and I'll have people follow me around the whole day because I'm their friend and we don't speak the same language. Think about that. The power of a smile. So kindness, love, smile, be friendly, be a blessing everywhere you go. Be the light.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Tamia. Everyone who is watching, please, if you want to get a hold of our speakers, you want to get a hold of Tamia, you can go get a hold of her or through the website and through Nkositalkshows. Or you can contact her through the email that is on the banner. Please, if you want the light, if you don't want to stay in the darkness, take her advice, keep smiling, and focus on what you can control in your life, not what you can't control. Because there's some things that we can control in life, and quit playing victim. She touched on that as well, and I touched on that as well. Keep playing a victim, because life is not a game. Life is gonna throw you with anything in life, and you just need to pick yourself up. There's always people who are willing to help you. Sometimes we get embarrassed for asking help. We think that if we ask help, we just downgrading ourselves. Guess what? That's what life is about. Just pick one person who can hold your hand and be who you want to be. And if you want our coaches, they are here for you. So live with grace, everyone, and we'll see you tomorrow. Anything you want to leave with our audience, Tamia?
I just asked really quickly. I'm going to pray, Lord God, just please shine the light, Lord, shine the light for these folks that are watching, Lord. Let they may be a light, Lord. And Father God, I thank you for what you're going to do in everyone's life. I pray that they be encouraged. I pray that they be the light. When I talked about the Christmas lights in London, Lord God, I pray that they be the light everywhere they go, Lord God, that they choose it daily and that they do it all for your glory, to be a blessing unto other people, to show them hope. We thank you, Lord, for your time. We thank you for our health. And we just ask that you be with us all day long. We pray this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Tamia. Thank you so much, everyone. See you
You're welcome.
tomorrow.
Thank you. Bye-bye.